I used the new companies to get ridiculously rich in Victoria 3 by granting monopolies over various goods for my companies. I am collaborating with Paradox Interactive, so make sure to use the link in description to get the DLC for yourself, which is coming out on the 17th of June. Would really help out the channel massively. And the game is also free to play between June 19 and 23rd, so this is your chance to try it out, see if you like it. Honestly guys, with this new patch, the game has completely changed. I actually have to say that this is pretty much a brand new game compared to before, and as such, every single nation is differently played now, which is why I'm gonna have to redo every single one of my videos, starting with the obviously Prussian one. You probably notice here we have a few starting treaties, such as the Treaty of the Holy Alliance, which historically happened. It was in 1815 that it was signed between the Russians, Prussians, and the Austrians after the Napoleonic Wars, and we have a secondary massive alliance set in Western Europe between England, France, Spain, and Portugal, the Quadruple Alliance. As you would imagine, all of Western Europe is in one massive block, and Central and Eastern Europe is in the other block, so things are gonna get spicy, that's for sure. We have some other starting treaties, trade agreements with Hamburg and with the Swedes, a mission to the Ottomans where we give military assistance to the Ottomans. This is actually something I'm not really happy with, so we might change this around. We're basically just getting a little bit of experience for our armies and navies, but we're not getting anything in return. I don't mind giving military assistance if we get something else in return. You know what I'm saying? That's right, we're gonna be abusing the schnitzel out of the treaty system in this patch. There's so many options. I absolutely adore this, starting from the basic stuff like military assistance, trade agreements. We can even commit to passing certain legislation, or we can ask the targeted nation to pass certain legislation. We can ask for no tariffs, no subventions on individual goods, or we can prohibit them from trading with the rest of the world. There's just so many options, and the best part, you can name your treaties whatever you like to. So we could have our little Molotov-Ribbentrop meow from day one. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna get into treaties in a few seconds, not to fear. First, we got to set up our army, so we're gonna be customizing, going for states so we know exactly where that regiment is based to give it a proper rename, and we're gonna be color coding so we have an easier time figuring out which army we're using. Politically speaking, we're gonna be going for dedicated police force because we have a lot of support for this, and to make it even easier, we're gonna add the petite bourgeoisie into the government. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go for level 3 education and law enforcement. Companies have also seen a massive do-over in this particular patch and DLC, and we start with the company ourselves, the Friedrich Krupp, famous company for providing the Krupp guns, which is, by the way, the unique prestige good that we can produce because of this particular company. We have a few options for the companies. We can give them investment rights, which will allow them to build regional company HQs, and we're actually going to do that for Friedrich Krupp. We can also give them trade rights, which will allow them to construct trade centers. We're going to do that as well. Colonization rights we don't care about, and industry rights will allow them to branch out into other industries. In our particular case, that would be the iron mines. So they're going to have iron, steel, artillery, arms, and trade centers. So Friedrich Krupp is going to have all the necessary means to become filthy rich, which we can tax, right? And we also can give them monopolies. We're not going to do that, at least not now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have some extra construction sectors, 3 for now, and we're going to slowly scale up. You'll see in a few moments why. Now, there have been some changes to the layout of the buildings. We see here development is the first tab, rural second, and urbanist third. We're going to set up our standard production methods for all of our buildings, and we're going to be spamming some iron mines in Schleswig, 6 of them, and afterwards we're going to get more because iron's going to be the staple of this particular patch. The more industrialized a nation is, the stronger it gets. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. This patch is by far my favorite one that I've ever played in Victoria 3. I had quite a few test runs already, and I have to say that this is the first time that I see nations, AI nations by the way, reach billions, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. I've never seen the AI do that before, and the AI not only does really good with its economy game, but it also does really good with the military game. So I have to say that from an AI perspective, they've made the game significantly more difficult, as in you're gonna struggle to compete with the AI, which I like because I've played this game for quite a bit and I like a little bit of a challenge sometimes. All right, we're also gonna do our technologies. Of course, we're gonna go for nationalism, where we'll try to form North Germany Italy and Germany afterwards as soon as we can. We're gonna go for water tube boilers afterwards, canneries, and mechanized workshop in that particular order. We have 58 innovation, but we can of course get a little bit more if we go to our buildings and we switch on over to philosophy department. Also gonna go for secular administration, both for the universities and for the government administration. That's because it will produce more bureaucrats and less clergymen. Why am I doing that? It's because clergymen have a tendency of being a part of the church interest group, whilst bureaucrats have a tendency of not being a part of the church as much as clergymen. I probably also noticed I'm saying everything a little bit more in detail. The reason for that is because this is a new patch. A lot of things have changed, so do expect this video to be a little bit longer. I do apologize for the length of the video in advance. And if you guys want to see a second part to this, well, we take it all the way to 1936, by the way. Let me know in the comment section. If we get 6,000 likes on this video, I will rush the second part and release it as soon as possible. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the content. It would really mean the world to me. A few other changes we need to make is switching over to fishing trawlers. This seems like a net negative. That's primarily because we don't have any actual clippers right now in our market. If we want to be a cheese ball, we can also ask for some money. They should technically still accept this. There's a 92% chance that they will accept this particular deal. We're gonna rename this though, not the Declaration of Breslau. This will be the super secret, totally not future military alliance. We're gonna do a few more deals around. The Piemontese would like a deal as well. So now we have a lot of options here. We could guarantee independence, military assistance, trade privilege, which is in essence just a trade agreement from before. It will allow the targeted nation that you get the agreement with to get more trade advantage in your particular market. So pretty good. And we could usually ask a little bit of money in exchange for trade privileges too. That's not what I'm interested in though right now. I would like to get a little bit of goods from them. They have clippers, they've got the man o' wars I could buy from them, and the reality is that they'd be kind of happy to do this. If we guarantee their independence, they're going to be really happy to do this. As you would imagine, these particular treaties do require influence, so getting influence in this patch is extremely important, and managing your influence is even more important. So take note, the treaties do have an expiry date. So for example, in the case of the Holy Alliance, it will expire in 14 years unless we withdraw from it earlier. There are penalties for this though. We get infamy, or we could renegotiate the treaty, for example, and maybe we can add in a military assistance, something of the sort. There you go. They have an 82% chance of accepting that, which I'm actually okay with, but we do have a pending treaty to wait for first. Almost forgot to change my gas street lights and my public transportation. We do have also an issue in Westphalia where we do not have enough market access, so we're going to have a few decrees set up here, namely road maintenance. We're also going to be changing a little bit our declared interest. We're going to go and we're going to have a South African interest, a Japanese interest, and this is pretty new, I know, an Indo-Chinese one, and we're going to change the one from England to South America. We might be playing a standard Germany game here, but I also want to show you guys the new metas. There's also a ton of quality of life changes, such as you see the current map mode here, and you can choose between the GDP ownership, global ownership, national GDP, or the budget itself. And it's like this for everything. Look at this. The buildings tab, we see the production and state, the pollution impact, national population, national GDP, migration attraction. So all the related map modes for that particular tab you can see there. So global starvation in this one, harvest conditions, market access, markets. It is really nice what they've done in this particular patch. I have to say, I have been playing the schnitzel out of this particular patch, and I'm gonna really make a lot of videos in this one too. So we're gonna go ahead and we're also gonna do another treaty with the Austrians. Now in this particular treaty, I'm gonna be taking a lot of schnapps from them, liquor, whatever you want to call it. So let's say 133 imported liquor, which is why this is going to be the Schnappldupe Tratatensteiner, which is German, in case you're wondering, for Ludi needs to learn German. I'm going to add to this military access, military assistance. Now, to get more influence, we also can, of course, get some rivals. Literal extortion, because that is exactly what these kind of deals are. We're getting as much money as we can from these nations, because we can. Why not? There you go. We got the Schnappldupe Tratatensteiner. The king himself has opened the University of Brandenburg, which means we get 25% university building building throughput. That is actually huge. Now, in general, guys, whenever you get these kind of journal entries finished, always go for the technology. It is by far the best option. Take note, guys, if you do a deal and you're not offering anything from your side, you're just importing, say, trade goods from the targeted nation, it will only cost influence to maintain that deal for that targeted nation. So in our case, the Japanese, if they are to transfer these two goods to us, will pay the maintenance cost. If we were to give embassy, it would still be zero, because some particular interactions do cost zero. But if we were to transfer, say, tools, then it would take 25 influence for us to give him these particular tools. The crazy part is, and this is also why I decided to do my interest in Asia, so we can actually give Friedrich Krupp monopoly over the iron mines built in Japan. And look at that, they will accept the treaty. This is just crazy. We can make our company the most insanely OP company by giving them the monopoly in these third world quote-unquote countries for now, which means they will rely on our company to build up their industries. There we go. The Anime Please W entered into force for 5 years. You're probably noticing that we also have a new building, the Trade Center, which is something that actually is built by the financial district in our case here. Trade centers you can literally build yourself on the map. With the current patch, trade capacity is absolutely vital. The more trade centers, the more trade capacity, the more trade you can take between countries, and the richer you're gonna get. So yes, we will be expanding a lot of trade centers. Also, speaking of, we can change the volume at which we transfer. So we have small scale trading, which lowers the trade quantity by 50%, regular, or then we can go bulk and mass scale, which literally increases by 100% the trade quantity. But as you would imagine, we require the floating harbor technology for this and the hydraulic crane for the other particular production method. So that means that going for some military naval technologies is not the worst idea. Now, when we go to our market, we also see the current trade routes established by our trade centers. So if we click, for example, on tea, we see right now we are getting 15 sell orders of tea from the trade centers in Pomerania, Ostpreußen, and Frankfurt. And as you would imagine, we can issue tariffs on all of these, both on import as well as export. So we can be nasty and we can tariff everything that we're trading if we want to, as long as that brings us a little bit of a profit. So we have multiple levels now. We can go for 50% tariff on goods, 25%, 12.50, or we can do the opposite and we can do subventions on trade goods all the way up to 20% subventions. This actually can be used in literal trade wars, and that's going to be one of the focus of this particular run, because we will definitely have some proper trade wars. Here's another issue we have, right? With the Germans, you want to get the North German Federation formed as soon as possible. Problem with that is that you need to have 75% of German nations researching nationalism. Now, what you could do is you could save the game, and then afterwards you could switch between countries to see what the other German nations are researching, and then load back up the save game after to make sure you still have your achievements available so you don't lose that. I just did it, and for me, less than 75% of nations are researching nationalism, which means it's probably a good idea to make some of those nations that are not researching nationalism disappear, if you know what I mean. So we do end up having 75% of nations researching it. Now, that does mean we will have to incur a little bit of infamy, because we're going to have to expel the diplomats in those targeted nations, and then afterwards we can annex that particular country. 9.4 infamy, but it's not the end of the world. You probably also notice we have some extra buttons now. That's right, the armies have also seen a slight little bit of a overhaul, and as you know, we can also attack multiple nations at the same time, so we need to attack a couple more. You Lippe now. It's a proper Lippe joke right there. So I'm not really sure why I decided to attack with 58 battalions there. I really didn't need to do that. Another cool thing is that we also can get military access now without issues through nations. So in the case of Hanover, that's really going to come in handy, since we're going to need to access the northern German nations. I'm looking at Schleswig-Holstein. It also takes a little bit of getting used to, since we don't have the trade lens anymore at all. And now now see here, we're doing a land invasion of Oldenburg by simply planning an invasion of an enemy state and not using a navy, which means we're basically invading through the lands of Hanover, which is enough for us to gain a front in Oldenburg and as such capitulate them instantly because they're no match for us. This is added with this patch, and honestly this makes an insanely massive difference in the way you play the game by far. It basically means that nobody is safe as long as you can get one of their neighbors to give you military access, which will allow you to use the plan an enemy state invasion button. Now you're probably noticing with the company itself, we're getting a lot of productivity because they remember have the iron mines right now, which has an insane amount of productivity, so they're making a lot of profit within their HQ in Westphalia. But because they have investment rights, they can start getting regional company HQs and the rest of the states. Now we do have actually genial relations with the Austrians in this patch from day one because we have that defensive alliance I mentioned earlier, the Holy Alliance. Unfortunately, if we are to do the German leadership play or unification play, we must not have a defensive alliance with the Austrians or an obligation, so we kind of have to withdraw ourselves from this particular treaty. Withdrawing ourselves from this will give us 26 infamy, which is really brutal. We could also try to renegotiate the treaty, so we can cancel this and maybe just say give trade privileges as part of the treaty. There you go. They should accept that. It has entered into force, so now we do not have the defensive alliance with them anymore. Instead, we just have a trade treaty and we still have genial relations. Oh, really? Freaking France, brother. Okay, well, you know what? In that case, we're gonna be calling in the Russians. Since we're doing this, we might as well get Alsace-Lorraine too. Screw it, man. Gonna need to get some more rivals too. So let's say Belgium, Brazil, all the nations that start with B, like Portugal. I technically would like an alternate partition just because I want to be that guy. Now this is now based off of prestige, so whoever has more prestige will determine the winner of the London conference in this patch. One thing that I absolutely love about this game is the fact that you can get an insane amount of conscripts by using a very particular degree. I'm talking about the increased enlistment. So we're going to switch from promote social mobility to increased enlistment efforts in all of our states, and by doing so we're going to be able to basically recruit half the freaking country as consequence. 90 more conscripts from three of them. Only 3 more gives 90 more conscripts. That is just crazy, guys. Actual crazy. Gonna call in Hanover as well with an obligation. Why the Schnitzel not? I think they have like 2 units, don't they? Let me see. They got 13 battalions. That's actually not bad at all. So let's go ahead first off and set our strategic objective, the province of Alsace-Lorraine, for all of our armies here. And we're going to make sure we take this ASAP so we start getting our war score ticking. And yes, we're also going to be pausing our construction because we're going to go bankrupt otherwise if we don't. We also got our first mandate, so we're going to go for the brand new principle, the company's principle, because I want you guys to see what this offers. 10% company throughput bonus, and eventually we get an extra company and an extra company charter for all the companies that we will eventually have. So that's actually a pretty underrated privilege, which makes this a very, very strong principle in my opinion. We don't need to get everything, we just need to get Alsace, and then we have to hold on to Alsace as well as go into the Danish lands and hold that on to. That's it. Then we basically won the war. Come on, Denmark, get out of my Alsatian lands, you little Schnitzeldorf. Oh, London conference finished. What happened? What? Belgium got all of Wallonia? Hold on a second here. What the schnitzel? Why did Belgium win the London conference? What is happening here? Sure, Bitter Steel is happy with this particular timeline. Yay! We managed to get Alsace-Lorraine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to push with our army in the north, and the rest of the troops here are going to be set to defend front because we do not need to push into the rest of France. Also unlocked a secondary company, Bohemian Crystal, everybody's favorite crystal, straight from the heartlands of Bohemia for all of you Kingdom Come Deliverance enjoyers, and Meissen porcelain and so on. There's a lot of them, okay, but we don't have these available right now. So what we have available is the top ones, and what we're gonna go for is gonna be Prussian metalworks because we get the army offense once we get the full prosperity, and we get the precision tools, which is a prestige good, and I would like that bonus also towards the tooling workshops because we're gonna use a lot of tools. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start privatizing some of my buildings because I do need the money right now. We are abso-freaking-lutely in desperate need of money to fuel this war. Hey, we also got German national identity. Nice. So that means we can go to German nation launch unification play. Obviously, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to wait a little bit until I finish this particular war. There you go. We enforced on the French. So now we have Alsace-Lorraine. We can make that a full integral part of our society. And we also liberated Schleswig-Holstein. Okay, how much debt do we take? We took 4.49 million principal. Okay, well, we're not too bad off, okay? I'll say it. It's actually better than I expected it to be, considering we took on the strongest military power at the start of the campaign. Now, time to click the button, launch the unification play, boom shakalaka don'ts. Oh, I see how it is, France. You want to join my side if I give you back Alsace-Lorraine? How about no? Now, we cannot actually add more war goals and force the hand of the Austrians. We really do need to fight the war. Hey, we got another mandate. Okay, we're swimming in mandate right now, guys. Let's go for the level 2 company mandate then, principal. I'm also letting the Austrians drain their manpower pool by attacking my ranks, and in the process they lose all their manpower. Once they have below a certain threshold, I will start pushing. There you go. We're already at 32 advantage, and we're capitulating the northern weaklings, I mean nations. We're also using our secondary or fourth army here to push a little bit into what we're producing. Guns! Yay! We have our prestige goods. That is huge. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that. We have 17.7 productivity, 5.72 company profit here, and we are producing Krupp guns. I guess the fact that we've been at war with France, we've been at war with half of Europe, Austria has contributed to this, considering that there has been a pretty sizable demand for Krupp guns, if you know what I mean. I totally didn't intend this, guys. Totally didn't want to have insane amounts of wars just so we can show a prestige good. Totally not. Oh, Bavaria capitulated. That's huge. That was the only actual major ally the Austrians had. They literally lost 40 units because of Bavaria capitulating. I do have to say I love the way they reworked just the interface for war and everything that goes alongside it. It's so much smoother now. Oh, I see. We're basically in a world war and we have time to build monuments to the king. Now I get why everybody hates us. Okay, we got the entire state of Austria, so that means we basically won the war. Just gotta wait for a couple more months now until they go to minus 100 war support. We got another mandate too, which is huge, so we can max out our company, which means that we can get a third company already. Come on, enforce German leadership, liberation of Krakow, and we have gotten every single little bit of North Germany. We are officially the North German Federation, and we've integrated all the North German nations, as you would imagine. Now we are economically in shambles, so we have to fix that. First off, let's change all of our production methods. So we got a whole six universities. We are so educated. It is crazy right now. Okay, we fixed our bureaucracy issues by simply changing a production method. That's pretty clutch. Go ahead and change all of our economic production methods to teach those other Germans what condensed engine pump can do. Am I right? Now, unlike other patches, what happens after we form North German Federation is the Austrians tend to hate our guts. So if we want to form Super Germany, we will have to improve relations with them, and hopefully they're going to change their opinion of us. So we've now paid off a big chunk of our debt. We are almost about to get the Precision Tools Prestige good as well. If we stay within the top 3 producer of tools in the world for 36 months in a row, then we get this particular Prestige good. Now, economically speaking, we're doing pretty good. We have started to massively recover our economy, and I'm trying to do a little bit of modernization, some would say. We want to get landed voting and then work our way afterwards towards wealth voting if possible. We do have quite a bit of endorsement for this and a tiny bit of opposition from the Junkers. Classic Junkers. I'll be honest, with laws, I have not been as lucky as I would have liked to. In my test run before this, I actually was able to do way better with laws. But end of the day, this is the most RNG part of the game, so it is what it is, unfortunately. I'm also getting more universities now, so I can max out my innovation cap, and I've got a few extra construction sectors. We're going to get more, though, because we can absolutely afford them. Our economy is insanely scaling right now, and we want to continue the scaling as much as possible. We do have 3 million peasants, and we need to turn these peasants into laborers. The sooner the better. Also, since Denmark managed to escape my laws in the first war against them, maybe it's time we pay them back a visit. What do you guys think? And I know some of you wondering, why haven't you formed Germany yet? It's because I would like to get some more mandates mandate progress before I formed Germany. I've been able to form Germany for the past 4 years, pretty much right after the unification play. I was able to form with just the South German states. However, keeping Bavaria and the South German states, which are minor powers in my power block, allows me to increase the mandate progress faster. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to unlock the principles as fast as we have already done so. So once I get at least internal trade 3 and we maximize this particular principle as well, we're not going to form Germany, but we could, just saying. Okay, so if you see the thumbnails being like it forming Germany in 5 years, it's because we could. Okay, we just chose not to. Ludi, why the click plate, bro? Why? I've also scaled down my armies. We now have only 3 armies, and I've divided them in the 3 current headquarters: North German, Poland, and the Rhineland. We're going to increase our army sizes considerably. We're going to lower the amount of cavalry units that we have, but after this particular war. Pretty much expected. The French have joined on the side of the Danes again. That good old Danish-French historical friendship, clearly. But it's not going to matter because we're just way stronger already than the French. And hey, we got precision tools. Yay! So that means we are going to be producing 2 prestige goods now. Seeing as I haven't actually added any war goals against France, I'm just going to keep my units on defend, and I'll let the French lose their soldiers from pushing into my defensive lines and just flat out losing again and again, because they're never going to be as good as Germany. Whilst in the meanwhile, our northern armies are going to easily push through the weakened soldiers of France. Look at that, 56 advantage already. I've also been in the meanwhile getting quite a few treaties with the Asian nations. I've tried to focus primarily on the Southeast Asian region, Japan, and a little bit of the Middle East, because honestly, in the current version of the game, it is just extremely easy to get a buttload of treaties from that area of the world that would honestly just benefit both sides, not just us, but of course the Asian nations would get something in return, such as a power block embassy. I'm giving them nothing. And we've just taken over all the Danish lands, which means we just have to wait now. I'm actually going to make sure my army does not push into France, because we don't need to lose units for no reason. And the war is over. We have taken Denmark as our subject. We're improving relations with them because we want them to be loyal. It just so happens the great conglomerate of banks in Switzerland would be more than happy to become a part of us, because they also speak German mostly. Guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm a little bit of a warmonger. Okay, I'm just tiny little bit of a warmonger. Also going to be a complete scumbag, and I'm going to set up a 20% tariff on pretty much all the goods that I've got. Look at that. We haven't even set all the tariffs, and we already gained 50,000 from tariffs. Goes without saying in this patch, protectionism is significantly more powerful than it's ever been. We can literally get an extra 36,000 in revenue from going for protectionism. Now, I'm checking a little bit the world market, and I have to say that it is insanely crazy to see the shortages that there are on the market right now. It kind of makes me feel like going colonial is really amazing right now, since everybody's looking for dyes, everybody's looking for sugar, silk. So maybe I should attack next the Southeast Asians, not just get treaties with them, but just make them a part of my country would probably be better, right? I think there's a lot of dyes potential in Dai Viet and Siam. Now in this war, the British have joined against me. However, I do not give a single schnitzel because I'm protecting my coastlines. They cannot land, and they can also not help the Swiss. And because I only added one single war goal, which is the subjugation of Switzerland, we're gonna win this. There we go. We just enforced protectorate over the Swiss. Let's go ahead and improve relations with them now. I could also take on the debt of the Swiss. In return, this means we're gonna increase our relations with them by 30, and that's for just 342,000 Swiss debt, which is really just nothing. I really do love the fact that if you start getting great relations with the Asians in this patch early on, you eventually will have all the rare resources you're ever gonna need. So it's just kind of simulating realistic ways in which Western powers managed to make great friends with Asian powers in their own ways. Some of them invaded them, some of them actually tried to get good relations without invasion, right? Like we do. One thing to note is that it is a little bit more difficult to get monopolies for our companies as we progress. So we can add these monopolies with other articles within the deal. So in this case here, they're not super happy with the monopoly for the company, but they're still going to accept it, and we're adding this to all of our nations in Asia, which is why we're making absolute bank with these companies off of these deals. Alrighty, we got another mandate, so that means we can upgrade our police coordination to level 2, or we can switch it over and we can go for advanced research, which is what we really wanted all along. It's the reason we stayed as North Germany and we didn't form Germany yet. Now we're also doing a tiny little bit of invasion in Southeast Asia. We're attacking first off Johor simply because we need to have a land border with Siam before invading it. Right now Siam has 40 battalions and they can get a lot more from conscription, so if we were to navally invade Siam, we probably would fail. Instead, we take Johor as a subject and then we use that as a foothold from which we can invade the rest of the Southeast Asian Peninsula, or Indo-Chinese Peninsula, better yet. Now that we got wealth voting, we're also going to be pushing for public health insurance, which is absolutely vital for our nation to grow. Historical gameplay, by the way, guys. Germany totally invaded this area. I mean, yeah, all of these wars totally happened in history, guys. Trust me. Ah, yes, Russia, have some of my meat, guys. They're definitely eating a lot of it. Now, since we have conquered Lorenzo Marquez, might as well attack the rest of the South Africa. I wasn't intent on doing this, but since we're here, we might as well, right? Come on. What's the point otherwise of just being in this area, right? Oh, we're about to get the next prestige good, guys. Gourmet groceries. Oh, I love this icon. That's actually such a cool icon. We're already second by GDP right after Qing, and we don't even have the rest of Germany. It's just the northern parts that have all this GDP. We also have quite a bit of support from political movements for proportional taxation, so we do start with 26%. Look at that. We've got labor movement adding up an extra 16%, which is huge because proportional taxation will definitely double down on our income. I've also been improving relations with Ming because aside from all the goods transfers between our countries, the more important part is that we now are able to get Friedrich Group monopoly over the iron mines in Ming as well. So now we got about half of Asia already under Friedrich Group's grasp. We essentially have made the military industrial complex in our country ridiculously powerful. There you go, boys. Ka-ching! Ka-really ching. Plus, we have a bit of a chance of switching over to a parliamentary republic. We actually have a lot of support for that, so I'm kind of debating doing this. I know we might start a little bit of a civil war. Holy mother of God, the deal with Qing is absolutely killing my convoys. I need more merchant marine. I need more ports. And yes, we're literally making 600,000 on medium taxation. I'm going to start going to low and very low taxation. That's the next goal. As well as I'm going to test out protectionism. So far, I feel like maybe it's worth a try, right? Let's see what happens if we go full on protectionist in our game. After many years, we're actually going for homesteading. This was one of the worst runs I had when it comes to going for homesteading. Now, economically speaking, we're doing really good. We're actually getting 1 million national revenue on very high taxation already. But of course, we're not going to be doing that because we would like to see us having the best standard of living in the world. Right now, we are right behind a few insignificant nations, but amongst the great powers, we are above the British and so on. So we're doing pretty good standard of living wise. That being said, I actually managed to get my third research level, and I am going to get the next mandate in 7 days. So I think it's okay for us to form Germany now. So let's go ahead and form it, get a little bit of loyalists in the process too. I also want to say that I hope one day we get the German color changed to something else. I mean, it's not a bad color, but I like it a little bit changed. Now that we formed Germany, let's also change the production methods. We have 92 universities. What? We had 11 from Württemberg, 10 Bavaria. Okay, hold on a second. So we reached our cap and we have an extra up to 122 in technology spread. So we're doing pretty good with our technology, that's for sure. In order to unlock the fourth principle, we need to be amongst the first 3 power blocks, and we need to have 10 members at least. One issue is that we don't have the 10 members. Right now we are the second power block, but we only have the Swiss and Johor. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more expansion, get some more puppets in the power block. That's gonna be my main priority right now, actually. I'm also gonna be decreasing the autonomy of my subjects. Remember also that holy alliance we had with the Russians, where we can renegotiate this alliance now, and instead of it being a defensive pact, we can change it into an actual proper alliance. They will not be on board with this. However, if we we give a few other concessions here, we might be able to make them accept it. There you go. They will now accept the change, and it has just entered in force, which makes Russia our primary ally and bestest of friends, of course. Finally, we got homesteading. Now let's go ahead and see what other laws we can pass here that would help us out a bit. Oh, this would be great. This would actually be great. We do have some opposition from the petite bourgeoisie, however, so let's see how that's gonna go. So it's only been a few years and we've already started massively outscaling compared to everyone else in the world. We have 112 million GDP. Standard of living is up to 15.5, which means we're right behind Brunei and the Ionian Islands. Again, the best standard of living out of the great powers, and population wise we are fourth, with our population seriously increasing. Now I also want to talk about a few very important things, guys, that are new in this patch. First off, let's go over to the world market. As you see, the world market does have a lot of shortages right now, which is why I am trying to go deep into Southeast Asia. I've been saying that for a while. I'm actually going to attack them now. And there's also a few other things that are different compared to the previous iteration of the game. First off, the markets. We have the German market as the main market for our country. However, there's also market areas. So the actual Germany is part of the Hanover market area, whilst the South African parts that we have is part of the Lorenzo Marques market area, and then the Asian parts are part of the Johor market area, or whatever it's called. Same with our little Argentinian puppet. We have the German market, but it's the Buenos Aires market area there, for example. And since we talked about our subjects, we have managed to get a few more subjects in the meanwhile, including the Marina Kingdom, which in my opinion is just free lands, because Marina does have not only coal, but it has a lot of rubber that will spawn into its provinces afterwards, and even up to 23 logging camps, and wood is a massive issue in this particular patch from what I've noticed. I mean, if we check out our wood shortages, we've got how much? We already have 786 shortage. We're basically using a lot more wood than we've ever been using before. We're producing more wood than the Great Qing and Russia, and we still are short on wood for some reason. So yeah, that speaks volumes onto itself. Legislation wise, we have passed a few decent laws. We're trying to pass restricted child labor, which would help us get level 4 institutions, which in turn means we would increase our maximum innovation cap by an extra 5. Right now it's by 15 increase. And then after this, I will do my best to pass laissez-faire, which will give me an extra, you guessed it, 2 more companies. Speaking of, our companies are doing so good right now. Friedrich Group is absolutely killing it. Look at that, 55,000 company profit, and it has regional HQs in East Switzerland as well as Zealand. The HQ in Westphalia is giving 48,000 profit out of 198 levels. Most of these, as you would imagine, are iron mines around the nations in which we've given it monopolies, as well as we've gotten investment rights, because we've gotten investment rights in most of Asia. Qing is the one I haven't yet gotten, but I really would like to get my hands on Qing. I'm gonna go for trade privilege for now, because we really do want to get better relations with Qing. And if we manage to give iron, or honestly just any good monopoly for Friedrich Group, that would be a massive deal. Maybe if we offer them embassy, they will accept. Oh, this is just crazy. This is actually just crazy. There we go. Convention of Ya'an has gone into play. Holy Schnitzeldorf. This is actually insane. It's not only Friedrich Group too. The other companies, we've been giving monopolies around the third world as well, and we're going to continue to do so. Now, in order to get the 10 states that I wanted, I'm going to be attacking Siam, like I said 1,000 times. This time I'm actually doing it. And Siam, I believe, has a few subjects, which should bring us up to 10, hopefully. We also lowered the autonomy in Johor, so we can bring our units straight by the border with Siam. I'm also going to enforce company monopoly on iron. This is going to be 5 infamy, but it is 100% going to be worth it. And I'm going to do another one this time for the livestock ranches. Wait, do they even have livestock? Actually, now that I think about it, they do have. Okay, they've got a few, not too many livestock ranches, but it's still worth it. Let's go ahead and add that as well. Enforcing these monopolies is 10 times more important and more palpable than any other war deal, in my opinion. Qing joined on their side, and they won money transfer, 33.8 thousand a week. Yeah, sure thing, buddy. Good luck with that. Qing, we're not going to add any war goals against, simply because I don't really have a massive fleet to do some proper naval invasions yet, but we're going to work on Qing after this war for sure. We're not going to let them get away with it. I also want to talk a little bit about the trade centers, because as you would imagine, this is a very new thing, and yes, trade centers can now also become privatized, or you can monopolize them. The thing with trade centers though is that they really fluctuate massively based on the goods that they import and the goods that they export. That's why sometimes switching between small scale, bulk trade, mass, or regular can be more beneficial depending on the trade center itself. And some trade centers will do a lot better than others. This is also because of the available resources within that state, which plays a massive role. So for example, in Rhineland and Brandenburg, in Saxony, Hesse, these are the main industrial states that we have where there's more options for trade, and as consequence, these trade centers are going to do a lot better. And speaking of, getting every single one of your trade good really high tariffs is not always the play. So personally, I like to do a few things with my tariffs. I like to get really high tariffs when I really need the money. So like if I'm desperate now, I would go on very high tariffs with everything and I would get insane amounts of money, right? Like we just got 60,000 tariffs instantly from a couple of very high tariffs, right? But the problem with that is that this will not incentivize the trade centers to trade in those particular goods. So as consequence, we're going to make less from the trade centers. We're going to have less trade routes for those particular goods. So sometimes it's not a bad idea, for example, to subsidize specific goods. So like if we have, say, a lot of artillery pieces or I don't know, steel or something of the sort, we subsidize it, then a lot of other nations start importing from us that particular good and they become dependent on us for that particular good, and then we switch from subsidies to very high taxes or just no taxes, and we get insane amounts of money as consequence, simply because they are reliant on us, and until they build up their own industry, they have to continue to import those goods from us. It's a little bit of a back and forward kind of game, and like whenever you need a bit of extra surplus of money, you can go for tariffs. Whenever you don't care about that particular good being really high tariff, or you don't care about it being traded, you can do that as well. And it's one of the things that I really like about this update, because it really makes the game a lot more replayable and a lot more situational, because it really just is crazy, man, what you can do with the tariffs here. Like, look at this. I set tariffs on everything, right? So now we're getting 167,000 just from tariffs alone, which is ridiculous. But here's the problem. If we keep it on this, we're going to lose all of those trade routes. So for example, steel, I'm the #1 producer of steel, but because right now we've got maximum tariffs for export, nobody is buying our steel. If we set it to 0, because we have so much steel and it's so cheap, they're instantly going to start buying from us, and we're going to make a lot more money from just selling off that steel than we will from the tariffs themselves. If it was another good, say for example dyes, and we're the only ones that have dyes in the world, right? Then we could set very high tariffs and nobody has an option. They have to buy from us. That's kind of why I'm trying to get the Southeast Asians, the South Americans, and the Africans, because if we get all the rubber and the dyes in the world, dyes, sure, later in the campaign they can build their own, but if we get all the rubber in the world, then they have to rely on us for rubber, and we can literally collapse the entire economy of the world if they don't pay us whatever we want for that rubber. I'm going to set all my tariffs here back to 0, because if I don't, what's going to happen is all the trade routes that I have will be canceled, because that people can just buy off these trade goods from someone else that doesn't tariff the shit out of them. And we're back to 0. This is what I'm saying. Free trade, in my opinion, is really, really powerful in this patch, simply because of the 25% trade advantage that it offers, right? But at the same time, protectionism can be super good too, because of the 50% tariffs that you can impose. And remember, it's also 50% subventions too, not just 50% tariffs, which is a big deal. I love how basically Japan right now has no or very little textile mills, and it's really profitable for us to just build up in Japan rather than our own country. Speaking of, I would love to get the Japanese in my particular market somehow. All right, we're making progress. We're about to take Tenasserim, and we're going to be going into Bangkok in a few seconds. Our little naval invasion is also actually succeeding, which is a bit of a surprise. It means their units are probably absolute dog schnapple. Let's see, what do they have? They have line infantry still. Yeah, okay, they definitely have really bad units. Oh, this is huge. We got socialism, boys. Oh, yes, baby. Now, you might be wondering, why are you so excited, Ludi? That is just weird. Okay, we can invite a communist as well. Hear me out, boys. With the new changes, switching over from proportional taxation to graduated is not as difficult as it was before. And not only that, but we're going to start massively making so much more money with graduated taxation, because dividends is really really where it is in this patch. It absolutely, I mean, it was also where it was in the previous patch too, dividends, but it's even better now. All right, we got Bangkok, so we basically have already won the war. There you go. The war score is going below 0, which means it is GG's. And yes, Qing is doing a little bit of a sneaky naval invasion upon Pomerania, which we're fending off. All right, boys, it is Hover, as they say in Siam. They have become our subjecticus. So when we lower their autonomy, all of their subjects are going to become our subjects. So that means Chiang Mai, Luang Prabang, and Champasak will all be our subjects afterwards. Also, we're making quite a bit of money from diplomatic pacts, namely the Treaty for Transfer Trade. Basically, when we sell goods to certain countries, we get money off of them. I actually was getting 300,000 from Qing from just selling goods on the Qing market prior to, you know, them being at war with me. So we're gonna get that treaty back. I'm gonna offer them embassy, and I'm gonna be giving them some goods. There we go. Transfer some tools. Buy 300 of my tools so I can make a buttload of money off of your peeps. Buy all of my iron and everything else that I can sell, really. I've got a lot of stuff, okay? I have an absolute massive amount of things that you need. You absolutely need this, Ming. Look at you. You're actually starved for all of these goods that you were also buying prior to us going to war with each other. So buy them back so I can double down on my economy again. Thank you. There you go. A little bit of fruits too. And that's going to be 200 to maintain. They will most certainly accept this though. We are now getting an extra 100,000 from Qing buying all of these goods from us. We already are on 1 million national revenue on very low taxes. So we're going to do a lot more just from transferring trade basically. We have a lot of extra tools, a lot of extra steel, arms. So I think it's time that we make people buy more of our goods. We do still have 1,700 convoys, so we still have quite a few convoys to use to trade stuff, right? Probably want to expand that a little bit though, because you guessed it, boys, there is no more max. You can have as many ports as you want now. It's just a matter of population to work the ports. And yes, also ports now can be privatized, and it's actually really ludicrous. I've also have not been privatizing much. I'm intentionally not doing that because I'm also trying to see how much we can go up with government dividends before we go for laissez-faire, right? Because once we go laissez-faire, everything is going to get privatized and we're going to have insane amounts of money. Our reserves are going to be completely filled in a second. All right, so we do have 10 members actually. Hold on a second. I just realized. Despite not being my subjects, they are still in my power block, all of those 3. So that means 10 members, which means we can go for the 4th principle. There's a few really good ones here. Freedom of movement is still super powerful, especially if you need more population, but I kind of want to go for food standardization for the standard of living and the 10% mortality reduction. We can of course go for level 3 directly because we had 3 mandates standing by waiting for us to choose a 4th principle. Holy schnitzel, we just switched on over to 17 standard of living pretty much instantly. We are the world's best nation to live in, as well as the greatest GDP, 4th by population, but we're gonna work on that. Rest assured, we're really gonna work on that. Can also decrease a little bit of autonomy in Argentina, noise. And as you would imagine, we have way too few construction sectors. Actually, I can start switching over to the steel frame construction method. So let's switch over this state first, then we work from there. We're gonna need a lot more glass because we're not really producing as much glass as we should be doing. We only have 34 glass works, which is really just about nothing. Let's get an extra 14 of them in Schleswig alone, and then we can get some more in Westphalia as well. Yay! Restricted child labor. Okay, we need to get a little bit more bureaucracy, however, so let's go ahead and spam a couple of these in the provinces where we have some taxation issues, because apparently we do have taxation issues in quite a few areas. As for the next legislation, why, quite obviously so, graduated taxation would be perfect. Unfortunately, a lot of our people hate this. I'm not sure we're going to be ready for this law. That being said, an attempt at laissez-faire would not be the worst idea, right? Let's try. Trying never hurt no one except the people that got hurt. Oh my god, look at the scaling here, guys. 109,000 profit alone for Friedrich Group and another 88,000 for German Metal Works. Please pass laissez-faire. If we get 2 more companies, we're going to be extremely rich. Extremely rich. Another cool thing with this particular patch is that we can do this. Instead of choosing spread the word or mine, it's all mine, we can choose to always spread the word or it's always mine. That means every time that gold spawns in a particular province that we own, we will not have to press any option. So if we click this, we always will choose automatically the 125% migration attraction or the 50% migration attraction and 20% throughput. We don't need to stress about this event ever again. So remember that. That's new with this patch, and I actually really love it because I use it a lot personally. Well, hold on a second here. Egypt would like me to monopolize certain goods of theirs. That is actually crazy. I don't even need to ask nations anymore to give monopoly for my companies on their goods. They're offering it themselves, and they also will allow me to build in their country investment rights. Holy schnitzel, this is actually crazy. And we also have our fourth company. I'm honestly deciding either the explosives one or the Silesian steel, because Silesian steel produces the refined steel, which is a unique prestige good, of course. I'm obviously going to go for Silesian steel. It's a no-brainer, really. Fortunately, we failed to get the laissez-faire, which would have been amazing because that would have given us an extra 2 companies. Well, better yet, 2 company charters. They don't offer companies anymore, and we're not doing really great with graduated taxation progress either. So legislation-wise, we are falling a little bit behind, but hey, on the bright side, we got the best GDP, we got the best standard of living, and I mean by far the best standard of living, and we're 4th with population. So we're gonna catch up with population really fast to the rest of the world. Next plan, since we have already lowered our infamy a little bit, is to attack the rest of the South Africans and to lower the current subjects to the puppet rank, of course. This video is really long, however, and I'm gonna finish it off here. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you use my link in description. It would help out the channel massively, and I really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to also leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.